All right, guys, welcome back to the Hillside farm. Yeah, so things are starting to take a definite turn. It's definitely starting to really start to that farm feel. You know, this plan, last time you saw it here, this had been just disked over. We had that 3 days of just that residual hurricane rain that just had the standing water in the field. But as you can tell, this field does drain very well. It's been disked. Some roots and some sticks need to be kind of still pulled out over here. But I went through this morning and getting into afternoon and made these raised rows here where I'm going to be planting the garlic. So there are 14 inches between, or one of your standard garden rakes is the distance between the path here. And you can see here, this is just more or less just take the dirt from the center of this furrow, pull it to one side, pull it to the other, and make your raised beds here. So this soil is very loose, crumbly. I mean, it's still got a little bit of grass from where the sod was turned over, but it's all in all, I mean, nice loose soil. The garlic's gonna like that. Yeah, so I have 7 different kinds of garlic, 3 of which I have 5 pounds, and of the other 4 I have a small amount. I don't know how much, I didn't really weigh it out, but we'll say 30 to 40 cloves of each. So it's not really that much in the grand scheme of, quote, garlic farming, but I'm doing it more as a trial to see which of these varieties, A, do the best in this this climate and this soil condition, etc., etc. And then as far as the 3 restaurants that are lined up already to purchase the garlic once it's harvested, I'll be able to give them a sampling of at least 7 varieties that they can, hopefully they'll be able to decide which one they like, if one's better than the other for whatever reason, and then I can, you know, grow that exclusively for that customer going forward. And if, you know, all 4 of them or so don't do well at all, then I'll, you know, be able to at least eliminate those process of elimination. So hopefully I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and started on a 6th raised row here. And I realize it's not dead straight, but like I've said, I did this by hand with my Rogue grub hoe. Highly recommend it. Completely non-sponsored, just my opinion. I'm pretty rough on tools. So yeah, so showing you, I'll show you the hoe that I use to make this these furrows with. I totally recommend, especially for rough on tools like I am. All right, so you can get to see that Rogue. It's a nice sturdy. This weighs about 8 pounds. Solid, made in Kansas, USA, out of I think it's recycled steel from old plows or something like that. I don't know the whole backstory. That's pretty cool. This nice solid handle. It's not going to break like some little flimsy little yard tool you're going to use. So if you're doing something like this, you're really going to get in there. Did this little grub hoe like this. I believe it's 8 inches wide at the top like that. And all I did is just put it in the middle and pull to one side, pull to the other side, then get the rake and kind of smooth it out. So this has taken several hours. My arms are extremely sore, especially my forearms. This, I'm not going to lie, this is hard work. So, you know, I mean, some people, they probably have tractors and implements and things like that, but I did have the ground tilled over and then disked with my friend. He had the tractor, borrowed it from his uncle, I believe. So, you know, I did not do this 100% from scratch, but that all being said, you know, I don't mind a little manual work. I prefer it this way. It gets a little more job satisfaction for me, I guess. But, you know, there's a certain point that just becomes a little bit daunting. So I'm not going to do this entire field, obviously, but this should be enough for the garlic to be planted right in here. And then this side over here, I'm just going to leave fallow until the spring. And this is probably going to be peppers. Hopefully, this will be a nice area for peppers. And I'll be able to get more fencing because right now the garlic's going to overwinter. Shouldn't be a problem. But before springtime comes, I will need to get some fencing for this entire area, which is all in the works. But, you know, for right now, it's November. And by the way, it's 80 degrees. You know, I don't know where you're at, but it's November 7th, 8th, something like that. And it is 81 degrees in Wood County, West Virginia, which is ridiculous. It's about 25 degrees above average. Ideally, you'd be planting garlic towards the frost and it's starting to get cold in the fall. And I really should have already planted it by the calendar, but I mean, it's 80 degrees. And getting into back next week, it's going to get back down the 50s and 40s like normal. But, you know, out here, the sun's shining, got the shirt off, getting some sun on me, planting some garlic in early November. I'm not going to complain about that. So let me go take you down there. You can see the fencing way down there maybe. Let me take you down there, show you the blueberries I have planted inside this little makeshift temporary fencing, and I'll get back to you with the garlic. So let's go check that out right now. All right, so looking over here, this little fenced in area, just some T-posts with some deer netting around it, are 22 blueberry bushes. Now, they were kind of gifted to me. They were runts. They were basically just gonna be throwaways. So I figured I'd put them in here, but because it's late in the season, I'll give them a chance to at least get established a little bit. You can see the color. Some of these blueberry bushes still have some leaves on it with the, see through the fencing there, the red leaves, nice fall colors. But there's 22 bushes, and I realize they are planted a bit closer than you would want if you're planting on a permanent scale. But this makeshift little temporary fencing is hopefully going to keep the deer out. I'll let the blueberries overwinter in the ground, have one full summer of growth, and then in the fall next year, whenever they go back to dormant, hopefully by then I'll have more land prepared and a better plan for some permanent areas where I'll have permanent blueberries for the future. So that being said, that's just a quick little update on the blueberries. So let's get back to the garlic and show you what's going on over there. All right, so guys, so that was the blueberry project down there. Just a word, what I'm going to do, it's going to be kind of hard to do this, film it by myself, so I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do ahead of time, kind of give you a play-by-play. Making a furrow down the center of each of these rows. I'm going to sprinkle some Dr. Earth. It's homegrown organic, and this is organic, I believe it's the same thing, just in a different packaging. It's 463, and that one is also 463, but this one has some true biotics, some beneficial microbes inside the smaller package here on the side. I've had some great success with Dr. Earth products. They are a bit more expensive as they are certified organic, etc. So doing this on a huge scale would be impractical, but I had this left over from my actual garden this year, so there's already been purchased and there's not much left in this bag. A small bag here I got on clearance, and I also have some leftover Miracle Grow Performance Organics 927. Don't be afraid to add nitrogen to your garlic. People think that they do that, they won't get a bulb. Just like onions, most alliums, the bulb is actually an extension of the leaves. So you want the more leaves, which leads to more and bigger bulbs. So yes, adding nitrogen early in the cycle is actually going to be very beneficial, especially when you plant it. So making a furrow down the center, going to plant the garlic, add a little bit of Dr. Earth, and mound it back up. So let me go ahead and give you a little show what I'm going to do and how I do that. And then I'll go ahead and do it on the mass scale and come back when I'm done and kind of talk you through the next steps. So let me give you a little demonstration. Okay, so first things first, make a little furrow down each row. Okay, so step number 2, it's going to go through. I'm just going to walk it down, nice little sprinkle down the center of each row. Step number 2. All right, so step number 3, this is the garlic clove, this is the bottom, this is obviously the top or the point where the leaf was attached before. You're going to plant this down. And because I've made a furrow, I'm not going to really press it down too much, just to firm it. It's about 2 inches deep. I'm just going to place it every 6 inches with each clove. So here's how we do that. It's pretty self-explanatory. You're going to take your grow, kind of nestle it in. Nice, you're not going to bury it at this point because you're going to pull it back on top. You don't want to get it too far down. And there are some more steps as why you don't want to bury it too low. So about every 6 inches. No big deal. And planting garlic should be easy. It's not an exact science. If you get one 5.5 inches, the world is not over, okay? And very simply after that, all you're gonna do, sorry about walking in front of the camera, guys. So, once you get your garlic in place, very lightly, just take your garden rake, and you're just gonna fill that furrow back in, just as that. Okay, so that's just simply planting your garlic. Now after this, what I'm going to do is I have behind you can't see, I have a full load of well-rotted, broken down horse manure, which I'm going to put a good 1 to 2 inches top dressing. And if you have a difference between top dressing and side dressing, I made a video on that a long time ago. It's a little lower quality because it's one of my first videos, but I think I do a good job explaining it. But the top dressing is just putting a nice, 1 to 2 inch layer of the composted manure on the entire row of all these raised beds with the garlic inside, which is why you don't really want to plant that garlic super deep, because you're going to be adding the manure on top, which would be another couple inches. And then later on in the fall, when it starts getting really cold and the temperatures really start setting in, I have some old broken down hay bales, which I'm going to put a nice composted 4 to 6 inches on top of that to keep the garlic, keep the bed from freezing and heaving the bulbs up out of the soil, which helps keep the garlic from shifting and moving up in the soil and et cetera, and kind of lodging or falling over once they start growing because they're too close to the surface. So that's why I don't plant it too deep. So I hope those tips helped right there. I'm gonna go finish planting all of these rows, and then when I get to the top dressing with the manure part, I'll bring you guys back and show you that. So so far, thanks for following along. If you haven't subscribed yet and this is interesting to you and you want to keep following along, please consider subscribing, hitting that thumbs up, maybe hitting that bell, so every time I put a new video up, you're going to be the first ones to be notified. All right, so let me get back to work, and I'll come back and talk to you guys here in a little bit. All right. Okay, so this first variety is called Romanian Red. And you see it planted all the way down. Ended up being 109 cloves planted down this row. So I'm just going to cover this back up, like I mentioned, and go on to the next row right here, which would be German White is the next variety we planted in the next row right there. All right, so let me get back to work. I'll get back with you. So in this row here is 150 cloves of German White. And in this row here, it's actually 178 of the Montana Zemu, which these are all hardneck varieties. And actually I ran out of room on this row. So if you can see the two sticks kind of poking up there, because I bought 5 pounds of seed garlic from 3 varieties. As you see, I had like 109 from the Romanian Red. They're much larger cloves, equaled 5 pounds. 150 cloves of the German White equaled 150 cloves equaled 5 pounds. And the Zemu, Montana Zemu, that was 178 cloves to equal 5 pounds. So the rows all ended up being equally filled, but because the ratio past the sticks on the first row here on to the end of where the rows are built is some of the Montana Zemu right there. So I'm going to go ahead and now I have the 3 or 4 different varieties I have very small amounts of. So I'm just going to go ahead and make some more rows down here and space those out and kind of divide them up with some kind of marker so that I know where everything is. And so sorry about this video, guys. This is actually a video to definitely show you guys what's going on, but it's also for me. I can kind of get a visual because I'll forget what I did because I don't have labels right now. I'm still trying to make them. I need to really document where I stop, what's planted in what row, so I can go back in the future and properly label these so I know exactly which variety is which for the trial purposes. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these rows opened up here, plant some more seed garlic, and tell you about the varieties I planted there for the final, I think there's 4 more varieties. So let me go ahead and do that, guys, and I'll get back with you as soon as I'm done. Okay, so now that the last of the garlic is planted, these are 69 Dubna, which is a Russian heirloom. On this side here is 109 Spanish Roja, and these are the ones I harvested in my video this past summer and saved all the seed. So some of the seed is not quite as large as you would typically want for seed garlic, so it's planted a little more densely. 109. I may not get very large bulbs off some of them, but that's okay. Right here is elephant garlic. There's, I think, 52 elephant garlic. And then on this row here, past the stake to the end, and from that edge right there, if you can see it, up to the stake right here to the end of the row, almost worked out perfectly actually to have 50 of the Chesnok variety heirloom garlic. So there you go, guys. That is the 7 varieties that have been planted in this. I'm going to go ahead and fertilize down the furrows, tuck these guys in, and I'm going to come back in a couple days and spread manure on top because I'm way tired of doing this all day out in the heat. And yeah, I say heat, but it's November. It's just crazy. Anyhow, guys, from my hillside and my little farm here that I'm trying to get started, this little garlic patch, just the beginning. Thanks for following along. I'll catch you guys next time here at the farm, maybe back at the Hillside garden, or maybe someplace else. I don't know. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you around. I got to get back to work. It's been a long day. I got a lot more work to go. All right, guys. Bye-bye.